Your soulmate has been secretly testing you, not to play games, but to find out if you're safe, if you're real, if you're truly the one. And in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to show you the exact psychological signs this is happening, the spiritual reason it's happening, and the one test almost nobody passes, even when they think they did. But listen closely, because near the end, I'm going to reveal the silent test your soulmate does without saying a single word. And it's the test that decides whether they choose you for life or quietly walk away. Before we begin, subscribe, like this video, and comment "I am ready," because when you speak it, you activate it. Now let's go straight into it. Your soulmate is not testing you to control you. A true soulmate doesn't manipulate. A true soulmate protects. A true soulmate is looking for peace. And here's the truth most people can't accept. Been hurt before. They stop trusting words. They start trusting patterns. So your soulmate watches your patterns. Not your promises, not your cute speeches, not your apology paragraphs. Your patterns. Because psychologically, the brain learns safety through repetition, not through romance. So if you feel like your soulmate is pulling back, or acting confusing, or suddenly becoming quiet, it might not be because they don't like you. It might be because they're watching who you become when you don't get what you want. Because the first test is always this: how do you act when you're not in control? Let me explain. Most people are kind when everything is going their way. Most people are loving when they feel chosen. Most people are sweet when they feel secure. But your soulmate is looking for something deeper. They are looking for your nervous system. They are looking for your emotional maturity. They are looking for your character. They want to know, do you become cold when you feel rejected? Do you become distant when you feel uncertain? Do you punish them with silence? Do you start acting like a stranger? Because if you do, they've seen that before. And a soulmate who has been through pain is not going to volunteer to suffer again. Now here's the spiritual side. God does not connect souls for entertainment. God connects souls for purpose, for healing, for building, for growth. And sometimes your soulmate is testing you because they are also being tested, to see if they will choose peace this time, to see if they will choose right this time, to see if they will stop repeating old cycles. And that's why this connection feels intense, because it's not just romantic, it's spiritual training. Now let's talk about the real tests, the ones nobody warns you about. The first secret test, the consistency test. Your soulmate is watching if you are the same person on Monday as you are on Saturday. They're watching if your energy is stable, or if you only show up when it benefits you. They're watching if you disappear for days and then come back with excuses. They're watching if you text with intention, or only when you're bored. Because in psychology, inconsistent affection creates anxiety. And a soulmate who is spiritually awakened doesn't want anxiety. They want alignment. So they test your consistency, not by asking you, but by giving you space and seeing what you do with it. Do you still show up? Do you still care? Do you still communicate clearly? Or do you take the space as permission to become selfish? This is where many people fail, because they think love is a feeling. But a soulmate knows love is a comfort, without trying to control. Can you stay gentle when you're triggered? Because this is the real relationship. Not the dates, not the pictures, not the chemistry. The real relationship is what happens when life gets heavy. Now here's the third secret test, and this is the one that exposes almost everyone. The ego test. Your soulmate will disagree with you on purpose, not to fight, not to be rude, but to see if your ego is louder than your love. They might challenge your opinion. They might say, "I don't see it that way." They might set a boundary. They might say no. And then they watch you. Do you respect it, or do you start debating? Do you start pressuring? Do you start guilt-tripping? Because a soulmate is not looking for someone they can dominate. They're looking for someone they can trust. And trust is proven when you don't get your way. Is why so many people fail the soulmate connection. because they want love, but they don't want humility. They want devotion, but they don't want accountability. They want a partner, but they don't want to be a safe person. And your soulmate can sense that, even if you hide it, because the soul can hear what the mouth doesn't say. Now let's go even deeper. Your soulmate may also test you with distance. This is where people get confused. They think, if they love me, why are they pulling away? Listen, distance is not always rejection. Sometimes distance is observation. Sometimes they step back to see if you chase them out of fear or approach them with respect. Sometimes they step back to see if you panic or stay grounded. Because spiritually, a soulmate is not attracted to desperation. They are attracted to stability. And psychologically, people who have healed don't bond with chaos, they bond with calm. So if your soulmate pulls back, and you respond with anxiety, accusations, or emotional pressure, you fail the test, not because you're a bad person, but because your nervous system is not ready. And that's the part nobody wants to hear. Some connections don't fail because the love isn't real. They fail because the timing isn't healed. Now I want to share one Bible verse that perfectly explains this entire topic. Love is patient, love is kind. That's 1 Corinthians 13:4. And it's not just poetry. It's a test. Because patience is what you show when you don't have control. Kindness is what you show when you're triggered. And your soulmate is watching. Now here's the fourth secret test, the integrity test. Your soulmate watches who you are when nobody is watching. They watch how you treat people you don't. They watch how you speak about your ex. They watch how you talk about your family. They watch how you treat waiters, strangers, friends, because a soulmate knows something. If you disrespect others, you will eventually disrespect them. If you lie in small ways, you will lie in big ways. If you twist stories to look innocent, you will twist the truth in the relationship. So they test your integrity, not by spying, but by paying attention, because your lifestyle is louder than your words. Now the fifth secret test is the one that scares people, the future test. Your soulmate will ask you questions that feel casual, like, what do you want in 5 years? How do you feel about marriage? What kind of home do you want? Do you want kids? How do you handle money? And they're not asking to interview you. They're asking because the soul is checking. Alignment. Because the worst pain is loving someone you can't build with. And the soulmate is not here to waste their life. So they test if your vision is mature, if your goals are real, if your words have direction. And here's the key. A soulmate is not looking for perfection. They're looking for seriousness. They're looking for someone who knows what they want, someone who has self-control, someone who has discipline, someone who can grow. Now here's a truth that will change everything. Sometimes your soulmate tests you because they already like you too much. Yes, too much. And that scares them, because when the connection is strong, the risk is high. So they test to see if you're stable before they let themselves fall. Because a soulmate is not afraid of love. They're afraid of losing themselves again. They're afraid of choosing wrong again. Feel them holding back. Don't assume it's lack of interest. It might be deep caution. Now let's talk about what not to do when your soulmate is testing you, because this is where people sabotage everything. The first mistake is trying to prove yourself. When you feel tested, you start performing. You start over-texting, over-giving, over-explaining, over-apologizing. But that energy is not love. That energy is fear, and your soulmate can feel it, because fear always tries to control the outcome. But love allows, love respects, love stays grounded. The second mistake is trying to win the test. Listen carefully. A soulmate test is not a game, it's a mirror. They're not asking, can you impress me? They're asking, can you be real with me? So if you try to act perfect, you will fail, because perfection is not safe. Soulmate wants honesty. They want someone who can say, I'm learning, I'm healing, I was wrong, I want to do better. That is what builds trust. Now here's the third mistake: reacting instead of responding. When you feel tested, you get triggered, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion. So here are the signs it's a soulmate test. They communicate, even if slowly. They come back after space. They don't punish you forever. They don't disappear for weeks. They don't play with your mind. They watch you, but they still respect you. They test your character, but they don't humiliate you. They challenge you, but they don't destroy you. That's a big difference. Now I'm going to tell you the most powerful secret. The biggest soulmate test is not about romance. It's about healing. Your soulmate will test you by triggering the parts of you that are unhealed. Because the soul doesn't just want love, the soul wants freedom. So when you meet your soulmate, your wounds rise to the surface. Not to ruin the connection, but to be healed. That's why you feel more sensitive. That's why you overthink. Because the connection is exposing what you need to release. Now listen, if you fail a test, it doesn't mean you lost your soulmate forever. Sometimes God allows separation, so you can heal without pressure, so you can grow without confusion, so you can mature without distraction. Because God cares more about your character than your relationship status. And this is where the spiritual side gets real. If someone is meant for you, God will not let your ego destroy it. God will humble you. God will teach you. God will refine you. And yes, sometimes God will remove them temporarily until you're ready. Now let's get to the mini cliffhanger I promised. The silent test. This is the test your soulmate does without telling you, without warning you, without giving you a chance to prepare. And it's the test that decides everything. Watch how you treat them when you think they're not going anywhere. Let that sink in. When you first meet, everyone is sweet, everyone is attentive, everyone is romantic. But later, when you feel comfortable, when you feel secure, when you think you've got them, that's when the real you appears. And your soulmate is watching. Do you still speak with respect? Do you still consider their feelings? Do you still apologize when wrong? Do you still keep your word? Or do you become careless? Do you become lazy? Do you become selfish? Do you start taking them for granted? Because the soul cannot stay where it is not valued. And a true soulmate will not beg to be treated right. They will simply detach, quietly, slowly, with sadness, but with self-respect. And that's why people say, they just changed. No, they didn't change. Saul, now I want to speak directly to you. If you feel like your soulmate is testing you, don't panic, don't overthink. Do this instead. Stay consistent, stay honest, stay kind, stay grounded. If you don't know what to say, I want to understand you. If you feel triggered, say, I need a moment to calm down, but I'm not leaving. If you make a mistake, say, you didn't deserve that. I'll do better. Because these words are not manipulation, they are maturity. And maturity is the language of soulmates. Now here's the final truth. Your soulmate is not testing you to see if you're perfect. They're testing you to see if you're safe. Safe to love, safe to trust, safe to build with, safe to grow with. Because attraction fades, looks change, money comes and goes, but character is what lasts. And if you want to pass the soulmate test, you don't need tricks. You need transformation. You need healing. You need to become the kind of person who can hold love without breaking it. And if this message hit you, subscribe, like, and share this with someone who needs it. And comment, I choose love with maturity. Because when you choose it, God will match it. And let me take it even deeper. Thinking, okay, but what if I feel like I'm being tested every day? Then listen carefully. There is a difference between a soulmate who is discerning and a person who is emotionally immature. A soulmate tests you for clarity. A toxic person tests you for control. A soulmate wants to feel safe. A toxic person wants to feel powerful. And if you've been confusing those two, this part is going to wake you up. Because the next test is one nobody talks about. The reaction bait test. This is when your soulmate says something small, but it touches a deep wound inside you. Like, I'm not sure yet. I need time. I don't like rushing. I'm not in the mood to talk. And it feels like rejection. But the real question is, can you stay emotionally regulated, even when your nervous system screams? Because the person you're meant to marry cannot spend their life calming storms that you refuse to heal. So your soulmate watches. Do you self-soothe? Do you communicate like an adult? Do you ask questions instead of assuming? Or do you explode, then apologize, then explode again? And be honest. If you've ever said, I'm just like this because I care, that is not love. That is unhealed attachment. And yes, I said it. Now comment this right now if you're still with me. Type, I choose emotional peace. Because some of you don't need another relationship. You need emotional stability. Now here's another test, and this one is brutal. The loyalty test. And no, I'm not talking about cheating. I'm talking about something deeper. Your soulmate will watch how you behave when you're around other options, when attention is available, when temptation is near, when you could easily entertain someone else. Eyes are always searching. Because a soulmate can feel when your spirit is restless. A soulmate can feel when you are addicted to validation. So they test. Can you be devoted without needing constant new attention? Can you be loyal in your mind, your phone, your habits, your energy? Because loyalty is not just what you do, it's what you entertain. Now, if you've ever been hurt by disloyalty, comment, I deserve real loyalty. Let's make this personal. Some of you are being tested because your soulmate sees your potential, but they don't trust your discipline. They like you, they feel the connection, they even pray about you, but they're watching if you can lead yourself. Because if you cannot lead yourself, you will not lead a relationship. And that brings me to the next test, the self-leadership test. Your soulmate watches. Do you have purpose? Do you have routines? Do you have direction? Do you have goals you actually follow? Or are you just surviving, complaining, and calling it life? Because spiritually, a soulmate is not sent to be your savior. They are sent to be your partner, and a partner must come with strength. Not perfection, but strength. Now comment this if you're ready for growth. Type, I'm building myself. Because the moment you stop chasing love and start becoming love is the moment your soulmate starts taking you seriously. Now let's talk about the test that reveals your heart. The forgiveness test. Your soulmate will disappoint you. Not because they want to, not because they don't care, but because they are human. And they will watch. Do you hold grudges? Do you bring up the past every time you argue? Or can you forgive? Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is emotional mastery. And this is where many people fail. They say they want love, but they don't know how to release pain. So they bleed on the person who never cut them. And your soulmate can't stay in that. Now, if you've ever struggled with forgiveness, comment, I